Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. You can't trust a forward. Listen to my words tonight. Don't just fall in love with my face. I used to be somewhat of a big deal, wheeling, dealing, no bucket in the warm-up, people carrying my bags in. How many times do I have to tell you through text, let's talk about the PK? That is a dirty hit that needs a response. I like a stiff, stout pillow. We'd rather dress nobody than dress you.
The only thing I like better than easy points are free Slurpees.
Goalies embellish all the time. He tumbled over like he was hit by a Zamboni. Am I this good, or are we just winning by 7 goals, and that's why I'm out here? Just say, I know you're right, Struddy. Just get it out. I think I am the modern-day Ronnie Dangerfield.
Yeah, I get no respect.
And now, Weiss Johnson presents Struddy's World. And now, here's your host, a man who is undefeated at WrestleMania, Jason Strudwick.
I love it. How's everybody doing today? The hostess with the mostest. That's right. Jason Strudwick in the house today, ready to take you through the next hour. Thanks for joining us here. We got Zoob's going to join me as well. But the show is brought to you by our good buddies at Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. If it's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, Weiss Johnson's here for all your home comfort needs, specializing in servicing for existing systems or installing new ones. Visit WeissJohnson.com today. Hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
All right. It was a rough night last night. We know about that. But I have 3 things I'm going to get into with Shaugger, with Zubie, that the Oilers are going to address, and they're going to look forward and going to make this happen. So obviously today I'm doing it from our mobile studio. I'm down here in BC, and the mobile studio is brought to you by our buddies at Adrenaline Diesel Studio. If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. Zubie, jump in here. I don't know, buddy. I had some time last night. I've been thinking, and I have 3 points that I'm going to share with you and Shaugger that I think, honestly, we might want to throw onto the ice for Chris Knobloch to take a look at. I've solved it. I solved it last night, what needs to be done. So, honestly, we could probably wrap this up in 20 minutes, buddy.
That's fabulous. That's great. And Shaugger's at the rink, so he can just relay it maybe down from his perch there, relay it down to Knobloch down there on the ice, and we'll have this thing all patched up before they play Montreal tomorrow.
You know what? We don't ask for much. Maybe a mention, when they have the media, say, I want to thank, Struddy's World, Zubie and Struddy. And I guess a smaller Shaugger will have delivered the mail. So he's not getting a high five, but just a thank you to us, because we've got to solve. We know it's been rough. Recently, we thought it was getting better. If you haven't been following, the 2 previous games were better. They got a win in Carolina, and then last night, good start, and it kind of went badly, quickly for the Oilers. But I like I said, I've got these points sorted out, and Ryan Rishaga is down right now at the rink. We'll get to him in a minute. But Zubie, we got him. We got Jamie McLennan coming up. We're going to play the field. We got a bunch of good ones, and then an interesting. Get off your fence today. I'll reveal it momentarily, but you and I have had our private battles with this, and I think people are going to want to hang in around and kind of get their 2 cents in as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we want to hear you on the stream. We'll want to hear when we get to, we'll talk about that at the end of the segment here, the topic for Get Off the Fence. We want to hear you in the stream. We're going to get you people included a little bit more today. And we're going to have a fun one. And Pod Golson, who we know, funny guy, chimes in already. He says, live from the Ducks of Nakatomi Plaza once again today. Yeah. It's close to that. It's close.
It is. I'm in a hotel room in Penticton, and it's not exactly the nice places that Shaugger stays at with that. So with that, let's bring in Ryan Rishaga, as he is absolutely down. Not absolutely. He's actually down at the rink right now, watching practice that started moments ago. So it's time to get up to speed. Brought to you by Timberhouse. If you're tired of those dull cookie cutter houses, Timberhouse is looking to shake things up. Their designs harness the power of natural light to brighten your days and lift your spirits. Because life's too short for ordinary houses and dull living, let them build your place where laughter and good times are part of the blueprint. Visit timberhoss.ca. We've got Ryan Rishaug down there. Shaugger, welcome to the show. I know you're nervous, but try to play through it. What are you seeing down there? What are your first impressions of the practice after a 6-2 loss to the Ducks?
Yeah, so Vasily Podkolzin elevated to the top 6 with Savoy having been sent down. You got Arvidsson, Podkolzin, and Draisaitl reunited back together on a line. All 3 drills so far have been line rush related. So it looks like they're wanting to get everybody out there, skating together, passing pucks around and such. But you've got Podkolzin with Arvidsson and Draisaitl. The McDavid line remains together with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Then you've got that third line still together that's got obviously Henrique with Brown and Janmark. And then the fourth line is Skinner with Corey Perry and Kasperi Kapanen. So some tweaking by Chris Knobloch in terms of, Savoy out. Podkolzin is the one that gets the look back up on the top line.
And there was some comfort there for Podkolzin and Draisaitl. So a quick point there you made. Matt Savoy sent down. And honestly, 5 games, I believe he was up for. 6 games. Didn't play them all. But I think, to me, there's a part of the future there for the Oilers. I'm not sure if that's right now in this stretch drive, Shaugger.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Like he got up, he got a little taste of it. I thought he had some good moments. I mean, never mind the plus minus. That was an absolute train wreck last night.
Yeah.
But set that aside, I thought there were a couple things I would say. I think he was as good as either Podkolzin or Arvidsson have been this season at hitting the holes in the slot for Draisaitl to find them. I think he showed a knack for that. We probably saw 4, 5, 6 times where he would hit a hole and Draisaitl would find him. So he knows why he's out there, and he showed up to those spots with a willingness to shoot the puck. I like that. For a small guy, he is not out of the fight in any battle in the corners, and I think would often surprise guys a little bit. So I definitely have a lot of time for that because I think this team needs it. So he fell victim, Struds, to coming up at a time when this Oiler team is playing pretty brutal. And so he is not a guy that's going to be a solution for that kind of thing. They've got bigger things at play here, trying to dial their game in. And it's just not the time and place to be trying to funnel opportunity to a younger player. Would have been way better for him to come up at a time when the team was going a little better and feeling some mojo, because chances are he would have been leaving with some more points.
Yeah, and really well said. And just from a player's perspective, I can't tell you how valuable that time will be for him playing in the NHL and seeing what it's like, the road trip, guys coming back from, the 4 nations, the intensity and a tough time to come up, but you learn from that as a player. So valuable for this young player. Will we see it towards the end of the year? Maybe, or in the playoffs, perhaps. But I think that we'll be seeing from him in the future for sure. So really, really important. Okay,
and
Shaugger,
I wonder, Struds, really quickly,
yeah.
But I wonder if we don't see their new acquisition recalled at some point here, if Jones is the one that gets the look. I'm not sure. I don't know what the plan is. I know he went to, reported to the American Hockey League, but they're probably going to need a body here. And I wonder what his status is.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, a player like that, he's got to know what his role is. He's not coming up to play, kind of skilled, not unskilled hockey, but he's got to come up. He's got to be physical. And I think there's an opportunity for that. And he's trying to, get his career back on track. And if you get a chance, you take the most of it. So, that being said, last night after our post-game pod, I jotted 3 ideas down. I'm like, the path back, and I wanted to talk about it today, the path back to what I believe the Oilers need to do to get on track. So I've got 3, and I'll just quickly bullet point and kind of explain it. Okay. So at the beginning of the year, okay, I'll go first. Play fast, defending properly, and emotionally connecting to games. Now, these aren't radically, new ideas, but let's just go. When they made all the acquisitions at the beginning of at the end of this summer, they talked about the need. They're maybe not the fastest team. They have to play fast. I believe there's a path to that for them to do it. They haven't doing enough. Playing fast means being in the right place before you even know you need to be there. And I don't see that enough from this group. I think they can play faster. 2, defending harder. This is something we've seen the last couple of weeks with this group, or let's call it since the 4 nations for sure. And that is just desire. That is not skill. That is not speed. That is nothing else other than desire and a focus on it, and a real focus on it. So that's something they can do without changing massive trades. And last thing, emotionally connecting to games. I think we don't see enough players doing that. And you have to find a reason, like Michael Jordan would. When he was playing a team that was terrible, he'd find a reason to get mad at like the seventh best player on that team and make that guy have a horrendous day. The Oilers have to find a way to do it. I thought Darnell tried last night. He had a bunch of hits last night. He took a few minuses off the chin. But those are the three things: emotionally connecting the games, defending with a purpose, and then playing faster.
Okay, love it. Love all three of those, Struds. And now I'm going to poke holes in all of them.
All right, here we
They're
go.
not that fast a team. They're not that fast a team by nature. They're a slower team. So I agree with you. It's something they need to focus on, but it does not come naturally for them, especially in and around their bottom six. That's an issue for this group. That third line, definitely not very fleet of foot. So that is tough to do. I'll go next to emotionally connecting to games. Unless I'm wrong, it would seem to me that the way to emotionally connect to games would be to have the intensity level ratchet up a little bit and to physically invest in games a little bit, right? Everybody really wants to win and everybody gets frustrated when you don't. But, what do you do when you're in the middle of a game and it's not going your way and you need to find ways to emotionally connect to games? You go out there and try and create offense so that you can emotionally connect if you do? No. You go out there and you invest physically. This is not a team that does it. This is not a team that is asked to do it. This is not a team that understands how to do that to try and change the momentum in games. So easier said than done for a group that physically is not asked to invest in games in a way I think they should be.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. So the playing fast, it's the same group they had prior to, let's say, a month ago, and they played a lot faster than they are now, and the results were there, right? Defensively, the details, I think they know how to do it. We've seen them do it, and they can do a lot better. The motion connecting is a little bit trickier, but I believe that help is on the way. And we're going to go to the sound box right now, the digital sound box brought to you by Douglas Mattresses. If you're like me, there's nothing better than a good night's sleep after a long day's rest. Your best sleep is just around the corner. With every mattress, they're including a free sleep bundle that includes 2 memory foam pillows, a complete set of luxury sheets, and more. Visit the Douglas Mattress Store in Manchester Square here in Edmonton, or check them out at douglas.ca/GYB. So emotionally connecting, you highlighted the type of player they had. They've been without Kane the whole year. They made a move yesterday to bring in Trent Frederick from the Boston Bruins. A couple prospects, couple picks. Corey Perry, who knows about emotionally connecting to games, spoke about why it's important and what it's like to get Frederick on their team.
You've done a lot of heavy lifting in terms of being physical, and you've been dropping the mitts here and there. You're bringing in a guy like Frederick, who is designed to maybe pitch in a little on that front. Is that welcome?
Yeah, definitely. It's he's going to fit great into this group, and I'm talking to him today. He's excited, and we'll be happy to have him when he's ready.
You fought him already in January.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, I said I told him glad to have him on our side. He doesn't punch me in the head, so I get to watch him punch somebody else in the head.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think that he's going to help drag them into this fight. And where he fits in this lineup, we're unsure, because at this time he's still not there. So Shaugger, we're looking and we're trying to understand what's going on here. But if Kane does come back and Frederick comes back at some point, that is a massive emotional connection that they'll have in, I'm guessing, somewhere between the second, third, and fourth lines.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, Strud, so I tried to interrupt, but I was muted there. While that clip was playing, McDavid had a pretty significant collision with Troy Stetcher and went hard into the board. So maybe after you can go back and review that video, Zubie, and see if you can find it. He's okay. He got up, finished the drill, and I think he's standing in line right now. So he stayed out there, but that was a big collision. So anyway, just something where it was definitely notable. Back to your point about Frederick. Yeah, it's going to help Struds, but it's weeks away. It's weeks away. And he's going to play what? 13, 14 minutes a night? So maybe 15 minutes a night if he's playing well. All right. Well, what about the other 45? What about the expectation level on the guys that are out there the other 45 minutes? Because Frederick and Perry are only going to be able to do so much. And not everybody needs to be dropping the gloves and fighting. And not everybody needs to be, rousing it up in the crease all the time. But I still think you need a group that when guys step out on the ice, they feel it's part of their responsibility to up the energy level, to increase the physical investment in the moment. And I just think this team is not wired for that in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a flaw in this group, and it needs to get worked out. And it's going to take more than Trent Frederick.
So are you talking that it's not there, has never been there, or you don't think they're doing it now? Because my point, I believe there is in that group. I think Leon can be physical And he hasn't been at all this year. I think Connor, I think Hyman, I think Nuge can find another. Paul Coldzin, Brown, Henrique, like these guys have shown, like last year in the playoffs, I never felt like they got pushed out of games. And I felt like they were giving as much as they were taking. This year, they're not. And I think they need to find it now in the stretch drive because they can. Because this isn't, you're not going to put LeBron James on the court and he's going to solve everything like they do in basketball. You need to have a group mentality where everybody does it. And we've seen a lot of these guys do it. Ekholm, we've seen Bouchard be physical. We've seen Kulak. Emberson can be physical. Klimberg, I don't think that's him. But there's a lot of guys that can be way more physical and have been physical, Shaugger.
So what's the switch that gets flipped then, bud? Like they just
think they
rattled
talk
off
about
a
it.
horrendous road trip. They just had a horrendous road trip where they couldn't win games, right? And they didn't bring it out necessarily then. They just played a game last night where they got off to a decent start and had the game stripped away from them. Nobody thought to try and add that element last night in a game where this team's desperate to get back on the right side of it. So I don't know, bud. Like, where does the switch get flipped?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got to be. It's got to come
Yes.
from within, but it's also got to be an expectation, which it's just simply not.
Right,
It's
but when it
not an
comes from
expectation.
But when it comes from a teammate, it's much more valuable. So this is not unlike saying, guys, we've got to get to the blue paint more, or boys, we have to be stronger along the wall, or boys, we have to get the puck out at the blue line. Like this is another piece of the game. And you have to keep adding, talking about it and bringing it up. And someone's got to be a vocal leader. And they're saying, guys, this isn't good enough. Let's look at our hit totals. Let's look at our sheet here. What we did last night. We've got to get connected to this game emotionally. And maybe it's Perry, maybe it's Nurse. It could be someone unexpected to chime in, although it's a little harder in that spot. But it is the same as these other parts of their game. You have to talk about it, right? You have to talk about it and say, it's not just going to happen.
Sure.
But they've done it before, Shaugger. That's why I believe if you've done it once, you can do it again. And I believe it's in this group. I truly feel they decided not to hit.
Here we are talking about an element to their game that we feel is critical for them to add in here because it's getting down to crunch time and because they're not emotionally invested enough in games. So here we are at the stretch drive of the season, and now it's time for just somebody to screw the light bulb in the rest of the way, as opposed to making it an expectation right from the word go and understanding that if you want to bring the competitive level required to stay in this lineup, if you want to bring the competitive level required for them to be a successful team against whoever they're playing, that it's just required. So we've been arguing about this all year, buddy. I think this needed to be an expectation right from the word go, because now they're going to try and manufacture it, and it's not in their game-to-game, moment-to-moment, shift-to-shift instincts. It's not part of what's instinctual for them. So, okay, flip the switch, get mad at each other, sure. Maybe they'll be able to do it. I would have way preferred it were an expectation from the beginning. They're not going to run teams out of the building, Struds, but what you cannot be is the softest, most seldom hitting team in the league by a mile. That's what you can't breed into your group, and that is what has been bred into this group. So good luck flipping the switch.
Zubie, you got a couple things coming in off the stream?
Yeah, a couple comments. People wanted some people expressing that they like the sound of these line combinations. But Gord's hype man says he'd like to know how much the line blender has contributed to the guys looking lost and confused the last few games. You could probably go back even further than the last few games. But does the line blender contribute to that confusion or disjointedness in the game, Struddy?
Yeah, there's two parts to it. One, yes, I think it does, because you're kind of you're changing who you're playing with. It's hard to get into any kind of rhythm. But the other piece of that is he's looking for a spark. He's looking for some chemistry, something that works. If it was working, he wouldn't be changing it, right? So, what comes first, the chemistry or the spark, or some flow? And I think that's a real challenge for Knobloch, as he fights to try to keep it together, but he's unable to because of the lack of that spark or chemistry, guys.
Well, and when those secondary guys aren't scoring, like, let's run this down, right? Arvidsson's got a goal and 2 assists in his last 13 games. Ryan's got no points in 4, 1 and 4 in his last 11 with 2 hits. 2 hits in his last 11 games and no points to show for it. So I would ask the question, if you're not producing, what are you doing? And are you wired to ask yourself that question? This group is not. Hyman, 2 points in his last 7 games played. What are you doing? So when you've got guys that are supposed to be contributing night in, night out, or on these top lines, and they're not, makes it hard for the coach to stand pat. He wants to try and spread it out, give some other guys some opportunity. I don't like how much juggling he does, but he's got to be pulling his hair out trying to figure this out, because he's got McDavid in a down year, Draisaitl crushing it, and nobody else with any consistency whatsoever earning those spots. Like, look at last night. He starts with lines that, okay, start with complete flip flop in the second period. It was a disaster, and then a complete flip flop back. That's a coach who's pulling his hair out, trying to figure out what the heck to be doing here.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from the rink there, Shaugger, before we let you go?
Yeah, Stu Skinner down in the starter's net. I don't think that is a surprise. So my expectation is we will see him there. McDavid looks fine. Group has seemed fairly upbeat, good energy out here. So they're doing the things you're supposed to do after a game like last night, Strud, but let's see what they come to the rink with tomorrow.
Love it. All right, buddy. Thanks for checking in with us, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow night, post-game.
Post-game. You got it, pal.
Yeah, awesome. Ryan Rishaug down at the rink. Great to have him there. Zubie, getting off the fence today. We're going to get to that after we talk to Jamie McLennan. But there's a lot going on right now. Pete Rose passed away recently. President Trump weighed in about it. He wants to get involved to get him. I don't know how he can, change it. But he's not. I don't think that's really his purview. But he's said he'd like to see Pete Rose in there. And we're going to talk about this later. And so if you have a thought on it, not usually, but on the stream, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Yes or no? If you're not familiar with Pete bet on games. Now, apparently didn't bet against his team, but it's betting on any kind of sport you're involved in is a no-no across the board.
It is very taboo. Yeah, so jump in. Everybody on the stream, jump in. Tell us, give your opinion and why, and we'll get to them when we get off the fence towards the end of the towards the end of the hour here.
Yeah, really important stuff. And then a couple other things we're going to cover today, including some wrestling. Zubie's going to talk about a big wrestling event that happened and something that I'm actually surprised came of it. So let's take a pause here. When we come back, we'll get Jamie McLennan on the horn. He's going to talk all things. We'll start with the Oilers, obviously. Then we'll talk about some other things, a couple signings, and maybe a certain role is being revitalized in the NHL. And I'm actually pretty excited about it. Either I was way too early or way too late on this one. Any final thoughts, Zubie, before we take a quick break?
No, let's get to the break and get Noodles in here and keep it rolling.
Let's do it, people. Thanks for joining us. Tell a friend.
For over years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit belvederegcc.com today.
Dennis here from Weiss Johnson. Are you looking to get into the trades or have a kid graduating high school wondering what to do? Weiss Johnson is looking for career-minded people to work for us. Opportunities truly are endless. Become a service technician, gas fitter, refrigeration technician, install residential or commercial heating and plumbing systems, fireplace installations or service, duct cleaning. We are the company where you can learn all aspects of the trade and pick which career path to take. We have an awesome benefits package and offer school reimbursement too. Visit wjcareers.com today.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining us this lunch hour. Jason Strudwick, Zubie with me as well. And now it is time for Struddy's Buddy. And we got one of the best ones around, brought to you by HSC Core Services. If you're a small and medium-sized business, HSC Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements, HSC Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsccore.com. That's HSCCOR.com for more info. And there he is, our main man. Whoa, jeez, is that a fisheye lens he got on that thing today?
This,
Yeah,
I
they
look
made
like
that shock.
I'm in a prison video. I'm in a prison video or something. I'm on a hostage. I'm a hostage. I'll blink twice if I'm in trouble.
Well, great to have you, Noodles. And talking about being in trouble, some people felt the Oilers are maybe pulling out after the game in Florida, a loss. Although Carolina, they get the win, but then come home last night and good start, then really kind of struggle. What would you highlight or pinpoint looking at this group and what they need to kind of work on?
Honestly, Struddy, I'd say everybody needs to take a collective breath here because, yes, I think they've been terrible to a man since the break. I've been joking that they've been laying on a beach, mentally. Connor wins on a Thursday night. He's 1 o'clock on a Saturday. He's playing in Philadelphia. Last night was the first time I thought he looked normal. Like, to me, honestly, I thought last night he started the game like a house on fire. The first 10 minutes, I thought this was going to be 6-1 for the Oilers. And then the Oilers, after 10 minutes, it just basically stopped competing. And the one thing, I'll talk about big picture and then I'll go to last night. Big picture, they just haven't been connected, Struddy. Like, when they were dialed in, this team was connected from the goaltender to the D to the forwards, and everybody was all on the same page. So you were getting timely saves from the goaltender, you were getting good goal scoring from your top players, and everybody defensively was dialed in. Right now, they just look disconnected. The D are chasing it around. I call it the dog park defense. It's just start chasing the puck. It's 5 guys at the dog park chasing around a bone and leaving the slot open. The goaltenders aren't making the saves that they should. You look at the shots, I think were 7-1 to start the game yesterday. The one they gave up was a breakaway. And, Pickard made a nice glove save on Troy Terry. So I would say everybody take a breath here. This team has a lot of talent. They've got great players on it. But outside of 29, who was out to lunch last night, he's been their best player. But can you name me a player on that roster, especially with their core guys, that have been very good? And I'll go from the back end, it's Bouchard, it's Nurse, it's Ekholm. Those 3 have a lot more in the tank as far as capabilities. Up front, I just talked about it. 29, notwithstanding last night, because I think he wasn't interested, but 97, 93, 18, you go right down the line, they haven't been good enough. So if all of those guys play to their capabilities, which I mean Zach Hyman on the forecheck, aggressive, hard around the net, R&H, not stuck in third gear. Let's get it into fourth gear and have a secondary effort. Connor, even in the Carolina game, 20 seconds left in the game, Connor turns that puck over for a breakaway. Like you're going, what's going on here? So to me, I think nobody has ever been sat out, has been fired from their job or anything where they've been playing, achieved great things or played too well. Name me a player that's played amazing and then they were in the press box the next night. Yeah. It doesn't happen. So I look at the spine of this team. Outside of Draisaitl, nobody has played to their capabilities since the break. And really, I'm tongue-in-cheek and I'm joking, but I swear that John Klingberg showed up and this team looks different I know he's had nice stats or whatever, but right from the Toronto game where he was offside, this team has been off kilter on the back end. And it's like, I'm not going to blame it at him, but, he does look like he's in a fantasy camp some nights. And you're like, okay, we need this guy to play a little bit better. You don't just hand a jersey to a guy out of the crowd and go, skate around out there. Like he looks like he has slowed the pace down from the back end. And that's not a good thing. You need to speed this team up. That's one thing I noticed is Anaheim looked really quick last night. The Oilers looked like they were second on every puck.
Yeah. No, great insight, Noodles. How much do you, when a team is playing like they are defensively like this for the Oilers, how much do you evaluate the goaltending or challenge the goaltending to be better, or do you give them a pass when the play in front of them is erratic defensively?
I'm not giving the goaltenders a pass. Like everyone's going to say, Jamie, you're going to blame this all on the play in front of the goaltenders. The goaltenders have to make some saves. I mean, let's be honest. You're looking at it, and this team, when it's on its game, the goalies don't have to steal games, but they can't lose you games.
Right.
And that's the difference. Is there's been, I thought I didn't like the second goal against. That was a bit of a backbreaker last night. You're 1-1. You give one up, and then I thought it touched something on the way in, but it's still from a bad angle. You got to find a way. Third goal against goes off a stick, off of Kulak's leg. Fourth goal against, you could put a hula hoop around Bouchard and Kulak behind the net, and Draisaitl's late on the play. So the play has to be connected to the goaltender, but the goaltender can mask a lot of stuff that's going on. And to me, the Skinner hasn't done that. And I think Pickard, who, was brilliant in Carolina, he gets a follow-up start, and it didn't go so well last night. But bottom line is that the goaltenders have to be better. They have to give you an opportunity to play well and settle into a game. And during this stretch, and even, we can call it more in the season, Stuart Skinner hasn't been consistent enough to be a number one guy. When you're looking at goals saved above expectation and this guy's like 70th in the league, that's not good. I mean, the goalies have to be better, but I would say the product in front of them can help the goaltenders out as well.
Zubes, you got some feed in from the live stream here, buddy? Question?
Yeah, one question I wanted to get to on the Oilers, also forwarding some more information from Shaugger. He wanted us to know that, because someone asked in the stream, Ekholm is not at practice. So I think actually just Steve was asking about that. So no Ekholm at practice. This is a question from Arthur. He says, are they tired of Knobloch's passive aggressiveness? Seems like it. We don't have to go directly there, but with regard to him, it's been 3 straight games now. I think he's referred to them as being fragile. What do the players think of that? How does that feel to the guys in the room to keep hearing that? Does it have an effect, or is that just the coach and the media?
Well, Strud, I'll weigh in, and then you weigh in. But how can a team be that fragile when there's a bunch of 30-somethings on it? These guys aren't, 21 years old and just their first rodeo. How's Corey Perry going to be fragile? This guy's seen and done it all. Adam Henrique. These guys have been in winning dressing rooms. To me, yes, their confidence can be fragile, but I think nobody has ever been mad at a team that worked their ass off and failed. I don't see the details. I don't see the secondary effort. I see them thinking instead of reacting. And yes, they're disconnected. But if your coach is calling you fragile, okay, well, find a way, play better so that you're not fragile. Don't place yourself in a situation where, okay, you're in good shape for the first 10 minutes and then you completely fall apart. Something has to stop the bleeding when you have maybe a down cycle during the game. It's a big save, it's a big play, it's your power play, it's your penalty kill, it's your leaders. And to me, Knobloch, he's got nothing to do with it. He's not the guy putting his gear on, going out there and passing the puck through the middle, or lazy coming back through the middle, or D making poor reads, or goaltenders that aren't making saves. I mean, if anything, he's trying to give them a longer leash to settle in and play their game and work their way out of it. That's why I'm saying, let's just relax a little bit, because I know to a man in that dressing room, they have better, right? From Connor Brown to Victor Arvidsson to, Connor McDavid, they all have better.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think they're going to the challenge right now, though, they're in that slump, or that the dog days of the year, and every team has it, is to manufacture energy. Right. And that's the hard thing. And so they made the trade yesterday for Trent Frederick. He is the perfect guy. Imagine if he was able to play Thursday night against Montreal. He comes in, not that he's going to rescue everything, but it's a shot of energy into your dressing room. Well, now they got him, but he's a shot into the energy of the training room. Right. The training staff's going to get to know this guy. So, that Noodles, like that shot of energy, someone has to find or manufacture energy kind of out of nothing.
Yeah, I agree. And I saw when this team was rolling, it was Corey Perry. Fight out of nowhere, kind of try and dig in a little bit. It shouldn't be the 40-year-old. It should be somebody else that has to dig in and realize. I'll give you an example. Like, I'm taking some heat I'm hard on Evan Bouchard because I have a high bar for him. I saw how amazing he was in the playoffs last year. I was like, that guy is a $10 million defenseman. Give him 8 years at 10 million. It might be more based on the cap going up, but he was engaged. He was emotional. He was on top of it. And if he had one shot, he made that shot like count. Last night he had 2 opportunities, beautiful passes through the middle, and it's like, yeah, one timer hit the goalie in the crest, circle away. It's like I look at this team and I have high expectations for a lot of players, including a guy like Bouchard, and they're just not bearing down at critical times. And I know you can't have 82 playoff games and then head into the playoffs and hope for a long stretch, but you got to find a way on a night where maybe you don't have it, where somebody drags you into it, or you bear down on a play that could be a difference maker. Because to me, there's just too many 50-50 plays where it's like, oh, I'm going to watch this. I'll give you an example, and I'm not laying this all at Darnell Nurse, because Draisaitl got his pocket picked there by Killorn. But that play down low where Killorn drops a stick and he pokes the puck off Draisaitl, goes to the slot. If you watch Nurse, he lets up. He stops skating, and then he realizes, oh, the puck gets to the middle. I got to get there. If you're dialed in, you're getting there regardless. So that's just an easy poke away for a guy who's 6'4" with a long stick. Pokes it out of I can't remember who scored that goal. His left shot. I think it was Carlson maybe.
Carlson. Yeah.
But that just, you win you close him off on the wall, and then you win the battle to the front of the net. That's a nothing play. It's just a detail. But there's a combination of mistakes there that it ends, the goalie doesn't make the save. Nurse doesn't poke it away. Draisaitl's not heavy enough on the puck. On the dump in, they don't get it out originally. Like there's a 5-pack of mistakes before that ends in the back of the net. So if I'm in the video room, you show these to the guys. They're not stupid. They see the replays. They know exactly what they're doing. But you've got to find a way to dig in and not have those consistent mistakes that pile up, and all of a sudden you're chasing the game and it's 4-1.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And he got beat off the wall. And those are the little details defensively. It's not a you have to do anything crazy. You just have to do your job. Noodles, listen, thanks a lot for this. I made a note. We're going to send you a selfie stick so we can get that phone a little bit further away from your face, just to, and then we'll get you, when you get a witness practice program, we'll try to help you out there as well. Because where are you tonight? Who are you calling the game tonight?
I'm actually in Toronto. I had to get a haircut, so I'm in the hallway outside the haircut place. I don't know if you guys saw.
Are they half done? Looks like it's half done. Ask for the style.
They're in the back. They're trying to get a mold for Lego hair. They're just going to snap it on, and I'm going to head to the studio.
I love it.
But yes, I mean, you're up next, Struddy. They're going to send you a hairpiece. It's all good.
I need one. I need a rug, not a piece. Okay, thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
You bet. Thanks for having me, guys.
Jamie McLennan, great guy. Struddy's buddy. Great insight. And he follows his team as close as anyone here, Zubie. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's get into the standings now. We know the Oilers play the Canadiens tomorrow. The standings are brought to you by Painting by Michaela. If your home interior is feeling dull or outdated, Painted by Michaela knows fresh coats are in season all year round. From winter to summer, their dependable quality service delivers a clean, flawless finish every time, done by professionals you can trust. Proudly serving the Edmonton area, they are ready to transform your space. Call 780-935-8608. Zubie, Montreal in town tomorrow, and this team is trending in the right direction. Recently signed Jake Evans. Many thought he'd be traded before Friday.
Yeah, we could check in on the East wildcard first. They're on a 5-game heater here, and the East wildcard is crazy. I mean, look at that.
Crazy.
8 teams really legit within 6 points of each other for 2 spots. And the Penguins only another 4. I mean, they're probably done, but that's wild. So yeah, Montreal's positioned themselves here only 1 point out behind the Rangers. Same amount of games. So it could happen for them. It would be pretty cool if Ottawa or Montreal, I mean, more Canadian content in the playoffs, I think would be exciting. And then a quick check-in on the Oilers here in the Pacific Division. And pretty interesting for their struggles. It hasn't hurt them that badly, as LA's hit a little bit of a skid here now, losing 3 in a row. And you can just see, you can look at those last 10 over there, and only one team, Anaheim's the only team with more than 5 wins in their last 10. So the Oilers haven't been too terribly hurt in the standings by what's been this skid. But of course, they could be on top of the div easily if things hadn't gone the way that they have.
Well, it's interesting, Zub. I forget the dates, but I'm going to say like mid-November till January, the 3 hottest teams in the NHL were Pacific Division, right? Edmonton, Kings, and Vegas.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of slowing down. Should make a note about Montreal tomorrow. Cole Caulfield's plugged his 30th in the net. He can score, and he's really smart. He's a very small player. If you're not familiar with him, very, very small, very quick, but very smart. Knows where to get to, and anything that touches his stick, it's going at the net. Like this guy, he makes Ovi look like a guy that doesn't want to shoot the puck, is how much this guy shoots it. So worth checking it out and being aware of what he can do as well. Okay, let's pause here on the show. When we come back, we're going to play the field and then get off the fence. We're talking Pete Rose. We want to hear from you. So if you're on the stream, let us know what you think about Pete Rose. But those things right around the corner, everybody.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
It's a good time to stick on the Oilers. If they're winning, maybe we can change it up a bit, Welcome back, everybody. Struddy's World. Chris Abunia and Jason Strudwick here with you, taking you right through till 1 o'clock. It is now time to play the field. Brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gambling partner of your favorite Alberta sports team. Whatever jersey you wear, Play Alberta is rooting for you to have fun. Bet on your favorites, get an odd boost, and make the playoffs more interesting. Get a $50 free bet this month by depositing with code GYB03 at playalberta.ca. Zubie, we've talked a lot about the Oilers, and you can always go back and check our podcasts. It was a great chat. But we're just going to check in on a few other sports right now.
Yeah.
The NBA. Dallas Mavericks made a significant trade when they moved Luka Doncic over to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a good player. I don't believe he's as young as or going to be as good long-term as Luka Doncic. So Mavs have been under pressure with that. Davis played a little bit of time and then got injured. And so that was pretty bad. And this team thought they could really do quite well. They find themselves at 10th now in the Western Conference until the other night when Kyrie Irving hurt his ACL, needs surgery, driving the net. It was cool. That wasn't cool, but the fact that he stayed in the game, took his 2 free throws and made them, then left the game. That is true warrior status for Kyrie Irving. But now they have Kyrie Irving out, and because of that, they may keep Anthony Davis out for the rest of the year for a team that had Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, now has none of them on the court for the rest of the year in the Western Conference, where the Lakers are trending in the right direction. The team they traded with to give up the young superstar. Incredible. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, your head is spinning and you're spitting fire, Zubie, about what's happened.
And there's been protests, fan protests, people kicked out of the games. And then they said, I guess this is only 2 days ago, I was just double checking the timeline. In the midst of this, the Mavs announced they're raising ticket prices.
Oh, geez. No.
8.61% increase, citing ongoing investments in the team. As expected, season ticket holders were not happy about the increase. Sometimes timing is everything. That's probably on the book. That's one of those things is probably on the books before any of this stuff goes down. But that's a tough look if you're a fan.
It's really tough. And listen, I mean, Luka Doncic, there's now all kind of rumors coming up about what happened there, what didn't happen there. But when you're a team that moves that out and then your other star gets hurt and then the guy you traded for is unable to play and may not play the rest of the year, you're a fan base looking around like, what's going on here? What's happening? So really interesting to see how this plays out with Dallas and how the fans react, because they were sitting pretty like a month ago. Now they aren't. Zubes, huge wrestling event. It was, I think, it's past weekend, the WWE.
It was on Saturday, yeah, and
Saturday night.
It was in Toronto at the Rogers Center. So this is a stadium show. I think they had close to 35,000 people there. It was the WWE's Elimination Chamber premium live event, of which the winner of the Elimination Chamber match goes directly to WrestleMania to face one of the champs, one of the two world champions. In this case, Cody Rhodes. So John Cena, who was one of the greatest of all time, is doing this farewell tour. 2025, he's doing a farewell tour. He's been out of action for quite a bit because he's doing lots of movies and TV shows and all that stuff. So he announces he's coming back to do this farewell tour, and everyone assumes that it's going to be, all kinds of glad handing and a celebration of Cena's career and lots of feel good moments. But instead, they hit us with the heel turn. To go inside baseball, you got your good guy babyface and your bad guy heel, and the lines are a lot. The lines have become very gray in the past, probably 20 years. That's more the 80s way of thinking about it. Anyway, after the match, Cena gets the throat slash signal from The Rock, evil corporate Rock. And he gives Cody Rhodes from the embrace that they were in. He gives him a kick to the pills to signal the start of the heel turn, and then the two of them go off and beat the crap out of Cody. Now, no, we don't need to go too far into wrestling stuff here. How far back do you go in you make some are you Macho Man Hogan era?
I was hugely
fandom
into it, and I remember the day that Hulk Hogan turned bad. And it broke my heart. And so I think for generations of wrestling fans, John Cena was the good guy, right? He for forever. He was always kicking ass on the bad guys, or quote unquote bad guys. And when Hulk turned bad, what was it called?
The NWO.
Yeah. I pretty much stopped. That was pretty much the day I stopped following wrestling. Like, it's crazy. And I know, it wasn't real. But I think Macho Man went bad, and I was okay with that. Like, but Hulk, for some reason, I am a real American. He's coming in. I'm like, what happened? So, although I don't know the whole storyline behind John Cena, I can relate, because when the Hulkster turned bad, one of my best days was when I remember seeing him body slam Andre the Giant at what was it, WrestleMania 2 or 3? One of my worst days was when he turned, and that was kind of when I stopped watching. And isn't that crazy? Like, emotionally disconnected because my good guy turned bad guy.
That's the most common, what people are equating this to as the most similar big heel turn. But let me just say also that the reason why it's significant is because John Cena as a babyface is the most requested and has the most wishes granted for the Make-A-Wish Foundation worldwide, all time, and it's not even close. As of 2022, he has over 650 wishes granted, so I'm sure it's higher than that now, and nobody else has more than half of that. No one else has more than 300, and he's got more than the top three combined. So I think this contributed to, for a long time, why he stayed the course with this character. It wasn't all of it, but that's why he stayed in that good guy mode for so long. That was a big part of it. So that's why they're taking a bit of a risk here. But I think his 1 year here is going to be they're doing some pretty good long-term storytelling right now. So I think there will be a big redemption arc for him. This is still pretty early in the story, but.
I hope so, for all those fans that watched and saw their man turn bad. That's a hard thing to watch, really hard thing. And finally, Zubie, when I played basketball, all I wanted to do was dunk. I just wanted to dunk. That's all I wanted to do. I tried. I worked at it for years. So I always find it incredible when an NBAer gets goes up the court and chooses to lay it in. Maybe it's boring. But there's one guy who literally almost refused to dunk, but he's one of the greatest players ever.
Yeah, that's right. Steph Curry. So he hit a dunk the other night, and if I was just watching, I wouldn't have even thought anything of it, although certainly I'm used to seeing him lay it in. But anyway, it turns out then all these stats started coming out about it. So that was only his 27th dunk in his career. And just for reference here, he is the all-time leader in three-pointers. He has 3,982 three-pointers. To 27 dunks, which means he dunks one time for every 147 three-pointers. He's 6'2". He can dunk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a kind of a crazy thing. And he said after the game, "Don't expect number 28. This is my last dunk." To which TNT made up this beautiful graphic here that I'm sharing in remembrance of Steph Curry's last dunk. 2025.
So good.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. Like, it's funny. Like, it's like he can't be bothered. I'm just going to stand out here and drain threes from 20 feet, some feet out, and just no dunking. Like, it's just, don't you want to dunk? Like, I love seeing guys dunk.
Yeah.
And like, you think of all the guys that are amazing dunkers, and he chooses 27 dunks in his whole career. It's the funniest thing. He'd rather shoot it from half court.
When you can dunk, to me, it's a slap in the face to those of us who cannot.
It's like someone who has a full head of hair and shaves it. Like, that should be illegal. If you have a full head of hair, you shouldn't be able to shave your head. They should go right away. Should be a fine, maybe a punishment. Maybe take some of the hair off and put it on a guy who is follically challenged.
I did that for many years, actually, and I think maybe the guilt was getting to me. So I finally grew my hair back. Actually, it was for a woman, so not surprisingly.
Time and money well spent.
I'll just say, Struddy, too, after we get to get off the fence here at the end for people watching, we've got some Oilers sound from the rink in from Shaugger, so we can get to that right at the end of the show as well.
Okay, then let's get off the fence right now. Brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products with locations in Calgary and Edmonton. If you're a contracting business or a contractor, let DLR help you add vinyl fence to your product line. See why they have been going strong since 2005. Reliable, unmatched service with high-quality products. Visit dlrvinylproducts.ca. There are a lot of people in Hall of Fames, every Hall of Fames, who are not great people. There's a lot of great people in them, but there's some that aren't great people that have made the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose was a unique player and an elite player, one of the greatest to ever play the game of baseball. He had some issues, one of them being he liked to gamble. As a manager, he was caught gambling on his own team and baseball. Now, to win, not to lose. For that, he was banished, and he's been not allowed to go in the Hall of Fame, which I think is a major omission. He recently passed away at the age of 83. Manfred, the commissioner, his family met, and they're maybe trying to find a way to get this reinstated. American President Trump, he weighed in on and said he'd like to see him go in. He'll do what he can to get in there. Now, I'm not bringing this in to be political, but I do believe that, and I said this many years ago, they'd put him in after he passed away, which I think is a travesty. I truly feel that Major League Baseball screwed over Pete Rose. He made them all a lot of money, brought a lot of attention to that game. And yeah, he made a mistake, but many people have made a mistake before. I don't think Pete handled it the best. He could have handled it better, but he's a fighter his whole life. So I believe they need to put him in, and it's going to be sad because it's going to be too late because he passed. He needs to go in ASAP. Maybe Zubie have a special one just for him, because this is truly a travesty the way it was handled. Did he make a mistake? Yes. But there's others in there that aren't exactly angels either, buddy. I'm not sure how you feel about it.
I think he absolutely should be in there, but I'm on this side of things now that what's the point now? Who's it for now? I guess it's for his family. The man is dead. It almost seems like even being more horrible to him after he's dead. All he wanted to be was in the Hall of Fame. Could he have 100%. Handled it better? Of course he could have. I had some stats here. It says he bet at least $10,000 per day on baseball games in 1987. That's worth a lot more now. Some reports suggested he wagered up to $40,000 a day, placed bets on almost every day while managing the Reds. Only ever bet on the Reds to win, never against them. But yeah, it just seems like what's the point? It almost seems like insult to injury. The man's dead. They could have even told him before he died, we're going to put you on the ballot. We're going to give you this chance. And maybe he could have even had some peace going away that he knew he probably would be in. So that's kind of where I land on it is, unfortunately, I have to say, what's the point now? It seems like insult to injury.
I agree. It is insult, but it doesn't mean he shouldn't go in there. Like, and admit that they made a mistake, right? Admit we should have done this sooner and own it. But, whether you wait, 6 months or 6 years, it's still going to be wrong that he didn't get put in while he was alive. Pete is no angel. He made mistakes, but he deserved to be in there. And I think this is one that needs to get rectified ASAP. So let us know what you think. It's incredible. It's incredible this is going on.
We got a couple people on the stream here. There was one other bit. Okay, let's get to them and see if I can remember what I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say. And somebody actually, that came from one of the stream. So on the stream, the Neon Rider says, I know he bet on games with his team played in, but was he a gambling addict? And I did a little looking into that too. And you almost wonder if he would have just said, but he never said he admitted it was problematic, but not that he had a problem, not that he was sick or had any kind of mental illness. And you wonder if he would have said that, and now I'm reformed and I don't gamble anymore, if that had, would have contributed to him getting in. The Blommer, before he left us, said Pete Rose knew the rules and blew them. He arrogantly has campaigned for years to get in. Arrogantly, that's Blommer's word for it. Talent and career statistics, shoe in, but needed to be made an example of. Oil East said no Hall of Fame for Pete Rose. He knew it was a death sentence. And there was one other, it was the Blommer again. He said if Shoeless Joe, who took gambling money but had no proof of altering the game, doesn't get in, then they shouldn't let Rose in, who actually bet on games either.
Yep, a lot of good points in there. I will go to my deathbed saying Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame because of what he did, and he didn't handle it well. I think he should admit it right away. Yep, I bet on games. I made a mistake, and I'm getting help for it, and I believe he'd be in. He would have been before he passed away, but he was arrogant. But you have to understand the man. He was a fighter. He ran someone over in an all-star game, and I believe the back catcher didn't come back. He that is who he was. He was always fighting. So you have to understand the man to understand the situation.
And he's still the all-time hit leader, right? And not crazy. And it's still by a good chunk. And like Jeter just retired, and he didn't play as many seasons, but he didn't even get close. He's a few hundred away still.
Crazy.
So it's a great legacy on the field.
Crazy. Yep. One of the greatest to ever do it. And my dad's favorite player, Charlie Hustle. Okay, before we tap out, Shaugger sent us some audio here, so I'm not sure exactly what it is. I know who it's from. So let's start with Leon Draisaitl and his thoughts.
We have in here, it's not the mindset I have. My goal, my role is to provide offense, of course, but my role is also to be not -4. So, yeah.
Well, that was a real rare night off, though. If you look at your season, for you, is it a reminder, or is it easy to shake off because that hasn't been really part of your game at all this year?
I mean, a little bit of both. Certainly, two of the goals are on me. The other two, I don't know how much I can do there. That it was just one of those nights, and those nights happen. It's all about how you respond.
Chris has talked a couple of times in post games about the group seeming fragile at times. There's been a little bit of that in here too with what guys are saying. Do you sense that in this group right now? Or how do you feel about that creeping?
I think any group that plays the way that we have the last month or so is considered a fragile group. That doesn't matter if that's in Montreal or Vegas, or any group that plays that way is fragile. So, we know what we have to do to fix it, and obviously tomorrow is a good chance for us to get back to that.
That was the digital sound box with Leon Draisaitl from Douglas Mattresses. And I do believe they are fragile, guys. I do think, and the mindset becomes you're waiting for something bad to happen, whereas 6 weeks ago, they knew something good would happen. Now, that switch isn't easy to flip. I believe they'll find it. Finally, let's go back into the Douglas Mattress digital sound box and hear from Hyman, usually a level-headed man in that dressing room for the Oilers.
It's easy when things are going well, you're making reads, right now there's probably second guessing and whatnot, and I think we can clean those things up by just playing simple and making it real easy.
Zach, Chris used the word fragile last night to describe the group. Do you think that's fair? Do you feel bad as a group right now that you're kind of seeping in?
Well, I mean, listen, if there's any group that's faced adversity, it's this one. Is it harder to play when things aren't going well? Of course it is. I mean, that's when you're not at your most confident. I think in life in general, and not just in sport, in any aspect, if you're not feeling good about whatever you're doing, it's harder, right? And I think the way through that is through work and keeping things simple and just going out there and understanding that we know how good this team is and what it takes, and we know unfortunately we've been in these situations too often, and we know how to work our way out of them. So that's silver lining.
He also pointed out last night that when Connor and Leon are on the ice, there's not necessarily a lot of offense coming from other places. I know as a secondary scorer on the team, I mean, you take some responsibility there, but just, how important is it for you guys to start supporting with a little bit more offense here?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I think, collectively as a group, we can all do a better job. I think the last however many games, we haven't been scoring much at even strength. So everybody's talking about the defense and letting things up, but I alluded to it before. If you can spend more time in the offensive zone and put pressure on the other group, you're not defending and you're probably scoring more. So I think we have to do a better job of helping those guys get to those areas, score some dirty goals, and
Yeah, I love it. The takeaway from Hyman's is they got help. And they got to get to the net. It's not all going to be pretty. Get to the net, get ugly ones, and then easy. The pretty ones come easier off that. Zach Hyman, digital soundbox from Douglas Mattresses. Zubie.
We got some breaking hockey news.
Okay.
Frank Saravelli tweeting that Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand have been traded to Tampa Bay just minutes ago. So Yanni Gourde going back to Tampa and Oliver Bjorkstrand. And it's a big price, though. It's 2 firsts and a second. There's some other pieces too, but a 2026 first, a 2027 first, and a 2025 second round pick, courtesy Frank Saravelli.
So they cleared some money by sending Cam Atkinson on waivers. I'm guessing there's some retention there. I think Bjorkstrand has 1 more year, and Yanni Gourde has, I think he's a free agent. So those guys are Tampa Bay players. Obviously, that's kind of a done comment, considering Yanni Gourde, as you mentioned, is already there. That's a big trade. Tampa Bay. If I'm Toronto, if I'm Florida, I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled at that. That's because they're Tampa Bay players, man. Those guys, I've always liked Oliver Bjorkstrand. Always liked him.
Yeah.
Big deal. Big deal. I love it. Breaking right down to the show. Zubie, any final thoughts before we say adieu in French?
No. Except for I forgot in keeping the wrestling theme going today, is that, of course, Pete Rose is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh,
in the celebrity wing. And they did that right in the face of and this goes back many years, probably 20 years. And it was done with the intention of making Pete Rose is a Hall of Famer. That was like the,
I love it.
Made sure they included that. It's always tongue in cheek when it comes to the WWE.
Yeah. Mr. McMahon getting it done. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in today. We really appreciate it. We're going to include and thank all of our sponsors, as we love having you with us and being a part of the show. We have another podcast right after the game, the Montreal game. Then Friday, we'll have a special one for the trade deadline. On Friday, we're interested to see what the Oilers do. You need to do more, Zoobs?
So what was the question?
You think the Oilers make a trade? You think they make a trade?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be big, but I think there's one more. Yeah. I think maybe there's a goalie depth.
Okay.
They grab somebody. Peter Mrazek's name has come up. I could see that. And I'll say for the record, if they are going to make a goalie move that's not depth, if they're bringing a guy in, I'm not on the Gibson train. I'm actually more of a Binnington. I'd rather see it be Binnington if it's anybody, but I have a feeling maybe there's a little depth move coming there.
Well, we'll find out. So podcast Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So 3 nights in a row. Zubie, thanks for this. It was a lot of fun as always with us. And tune into our socials. Our next one will be next Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Have yourself a great day. Let's look for a better defensive effort from the Oilers tomorrow night against Montreal. See you, everybody.